everything from hospital sites to offices being built. They invade sites and demand more than 30% of the value of these construction projects. There's intimidation, violence and extortion, targeting companies putting up, as I said, everything from malls to office blocks. They're known, as we said, as the construction mafia. Now, operations manager at the Bargaining Council for the civil engineering industry, Lindie Fourie, joins me now to tell us more about this phenomenon. Lindie, thanks very much indeed for your time. Perhaps just take us through how this actually works. As I understand it, you have groups calling themselves business forums, marching onto a construction site and demanding money for projects to continue. Does that sum it up?
In essence, most definitely that can happen, and thank you for the opportunity. It differs. I think initially there was the extremely violent incidences where people will arrive perhaps in a minibus, 30 people piling out with fully automatic firearms and demanding, well, basically money from the project or a portion or the value of the project. It has differed, I think. Initially we were calling it the construction mafia as much as, but we still refer to the construction mafia. I think it's more of a loose term. You will have groups of people arriving on the same day purporting to represent certain contractors wanting value or a portion of the project or demanding that you make use of whoever they want you to use on that particular site, even though you might have already engaged legitimate contractors. Or it can just be money. They can just threaten and say, you will not work in this area unless you give in to my demands, and there's a price to it.
Is it difficult to put your finger on who these groups actually are? Because, as we said, groups will pitch up or they will actually give a company a call and say they represent a business forum, for example, a legitimate business forum, and then do exactly what you just painted there. One wonders, you have local government departments, you have municipalities where these projects are being built. Surely authorities can act with the required vigor against this?
One would definitely hope so, and I believe we can. I think that's exactly why the Bargaining Council has come forward also to say we need to put our heads together and see how this can be tackled. The reality on the ground is you don't necessarily always know who you're dealing with, as much as what they might purport to represent a legitimate group might not be the case. I think which also makes it more difficult when you need to go the legal route or even try and attempt to get an interdict to stop what's happening so that you can just get your guys back to work and proceed with working safely. With reference to the intel on the ground, I think great inroads have been made with organizations coming together, those who have most definitely the same agenda as the Bargaining Council has. And I think you have reported already on the anti-corruption forum that's been headed up by the SIU and Public Works and Infrastructure. I think that will really see a change coming very soon.
There is, I beg your pardon, there is a sense that perhaps you might have one or two officials placed within municipalities and local government that could actually be spurring some of this on. Any truth to that?
Will be difficult to confirm or deny it. I think I said previously, there has been publicly announced that there's a lot of corruption in many of the government departments. I think many of the ministers have acknowledged the same, but there's definitely an appetite in certain departments to eradicate that type of elements. As I've mentioned with this anti-corruption forum, the intention is to create some awareness, to identify where these issues happen and actually to deal with them and to provide feedback to those who report it. Because I think the sense of when this happens on site, the guys it's a war zone in many of the times. And I think there's a very good report that was issued also, which refers to this as systemic extortion. We've reached a level to the whole mafia comment that was made earlier, Representative and Godfather, where the industry is, well, this is the reality that we face in South Africa. We just need to budget for this and pay it. Otherwise, we can't operate in South Africa, which is that surely that's not where we should find ourselves as South Africans.
Just looking at a possible solution going forward there. I mean, in 2020, you had President Cyril Ramaphosa promising that you would have designated police units to tackle and eradicate the problem. I'm wondering from that promise, from that perspective, what's been the movement there? Seemingly very little.
None that we've been able to see as such. I know Lieutenant General Libia heads up the anti-corruption initiative nationally, which the Anti-Corruption Forum for the Infrastructure and Built Environment is just a component of it. So with the active involvement of SIU, NPA in that, I do think there will be some traction being made. So I don't think the special unit in SAPS has been set up as yet. Most definitely have been trying to set up a meeting with that. With the Bargaining Council, when we were discussing this, one of the proposals was similar to what we found with the World Cup Rugby. We will have specialized units, mobile units of SAPS operating nationally, because I think the local police stations are intimidated. They know who these criminals are, and obviously fearing for themselves and might come from the same community. So there is most certainly a need to mobilize these specialized units, and very urgently so. Otherwise, it's a very important component. Else the efforts will be fruitless. You might investigate, but it won't see it to completion if we don't have SAPS on board.
Yeah, all right. Well, fair enough. Hopefully we get somewhere with this. This has got a direct impact on jobs and the economy. Thanks very much indeed, Operations Manager at the Bargaining Council for the Civil Engineering Industry, Lindie Fourie. All right, quick look at the markets.